Speaker, the Prime Minister's political vindictiveness is hurting Canadians. Since February, Conservatives have been presenting pragmatic and reasonable solutions to help Canadians who are suffering because of the affordability crisis. Instead, the Prime Minister is being vindictive, and he thinks he's hurting Conservatives politically by saying no to our proposals, when in fact, he's punishing Canadians with his petty political vengeance. This is the last chance before the summer adjournment to listen to what Conservatives have been saying and take action for Canadians who are suffering with the high cost of food, fuel and housing. The Liberals need a reality check, so here's some facts they might want to consider. Canadians are paying record-high gas prices. Housing costs have had their biggest increase in a generation. The dream of owning a home is withering away for young Canadians. Food prices are up 9.7% this year alone. These are the realities that Canadians are facing. But instead of working to help, this government has the gall to hike taxes and drive the cost of living even higher. The solutions that Conservatives have been offering for months to deal with this crisis are not radical ideas. They are common sense ideas. When gas prices started to increase, we asked that the government suspend the GST on fuel to give Canadians a break. Provinces were doing it, and we believe the federal government could offer help too. But the Prime Minister said no. We asked for relief for Canadians by suspending the carbon tax on April 1st. Again, the Prime Minister said no. He thinks he can score political points with his friends at the UN, maybe by making Canadians pay record-high gas prices. He thinks he can hurt Conservatives by acting like we're being careless, but that's just not true. It's clear the Prime Minister is saying no because of politics, because it's Conservatives who are asking. It's our idea. The fact is, in both cases, his vindictiveness didn't hurt us, but it did hurt Canadians. This attitude is incredibly disheartening, and it's failing the people who need help the most. It ignores the fact that single parents aren't able to fill up their car, that seniors are struggling to pay for groceries and rent. Now, keep in mind, the cost of living crisis does not affect this Prime Minister at all. He doesn't pay for his own gas. He doesn't pay for his own food. He doesn't have to worry about standing in lines anywhere. Conservatives have also been asking that the tariff on fertilizer be removed so that our farmers and our producers aren't punished for using the tools that they need to work effectively. Again, the Prime Minister said no to this, at the expense of farmers who have been working tirelessly through the pandemic to keep food on our table. Conservatives have also consistently been asking that the Prime Minister listen to science and to experts who say that vaccine mandates are no longer required. We've asked that he return to pre-COVID normal in order to allow Canadians to travel unobstructed, to help our hurting tourism sector, and to let Canadians get back to their pre-COVID normal. Again, he said no to Conservatives, thinking he's hurting us, but saying no to Canadians, causing irreparable damage to Canadians. Now, to him, it doesn't seem to matter that we're not the only ones asking that these restrictions be lifted. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce agrees with us. Toronto Airport Authority has called for the end to the restrictions. Hotel Association of Canada, the Canadian Tourism and Travel Roundtable. The CEO of WestJet has asked for it, and the Canadian Airports Council, just to name a few. But it doesn't matter to the Prime Minister. It doesn't matter what experts say, what doctors say, scientists, public health officials. All that matters to this Prime Minister is that he sees on these issues so he can wedge, stigmatize and divide Canadians and try to hurt Conservatives. Speaker, this is probably the most egregious example of his pettiness and vindictiveness and his hypocrisy. He travels around the world, travels around North America today as we speak, to countries without restrictions, enjoying their freedoms, having a good time, hanging out, eating, drinking, a little partying, with people who may not be vaccinated, no masks on. We've all seen the pictures of this Prime Minister maskless in every country that he's visited over the last year, while at the same time telling his own citizens, telling Canadians they must abide by domestic restrictions that are incredibly draconian and completely out of date. The Prime Minister's forced restrictions at home in Canada while he flaunts his personal freedoms abroad, are theatrics and astounding hypocrisy. For months, we have been working on this side to bring solutions to these problems and these challenges. I invite Canadians, I invite everyone in this House to go back and look at our record. Look at the reasonable things that we've been offering. We could have done all kinds of partisan motions, Mr. Speaker. Even today, we could have presented motions that would have put the Liberals in a difficult position, even the NDP and the Bloc. We have not done that because we want to offer solutions to Canadians. We want to unite Canadians around things that make life more affordable for them, that allow them to visit their family, allow them to be able to go back to work. These are things that unite. These are the things that Conservatives have been offering. And what does the Prime Minister do? He says no, all for political gain. So while we've called for action on gas prices and everyday expenses, unfortunately, Canadians are paying higher costs. Speaker, parents should not be forced to choose between enrolling their kids in sports or putting food on their table. They shouldn't be forced to rack up mountains of debt just to pay for basic groceries. Young people should be optimistic and see Canada as a place of opportunity. Instead, a recent RBC report has shown that younger Canadians are actually losing money every single month, especially if they live in a big city. But the Prime Minister and his government have made it clear they're more interested in vindictive and petty politics than actually helping Canadians. At every turn, the Prime Minister has rejected our proposals because he thinks it helps him politically by hurting Conservatives. While he's focused on scoring points, he's leaving Canadians behind. Canadians are the ones who are being forced to make sacrifice, while he sits back and enjoys the praise of his Liberal friends, and I guess his Liberal caucus likes all of it as well. Today, we are offering our own omnibus motion of sorts, a motion that will give Canadians a break and get their lives back to normal. We don't think that that's too much to ask for. We are calling on the NDP, our colleagues on the NDP and Bloc side, to help us help Canadians. They have a chance today to put Canadians first. Our message to our friends in the Bloc and the NDP side is don't vote for us, don't vote for Conservatives, vote yes for Canadians. Do the right thing and vote yes for Canadians. The same opportunity exists for the Liberals. The Prime Minister can continue to be petty and stubborn, because boy, oh boy, I think a lot of the things that he's doing is just pure stubbornness. Or he can do the right thing and agree with our common sense ideas for Canadians. Today he has the chance to show leadership, to stop his childish games, to stop blaming Russia or the pandemic or whatever else excuse he brings up, and recognize that Canadians need him, and they need to get to work, and they need him to get to work. Instead of spending all his time and energy on wedging Canadians and trying to figure out ways to try to hurt Conservatives and try to make Conservatives look bad, for once he could look beyond his own political future. Our motion would immediately provide relief for families, seniors, farmers, small business owners, and commuters who are suffering from high prices. It would give hope to Canadians who are hoping to save up for a home, or to those who just want to travel and visit their loved one. It would help millions of Canadians who are struggling to make ends meet in this affordability crisis. It would help millions of Canadians who work in the federal sector to be able to go back to work. So far, the Prime Minister has utterly failed these people. He has abandoned them in order to play political games. Today, we are offering our final chance. This is our final Opposition Day motion. Today, we are offering a final chance to put vindictive, petty politics aside and deliver the relief that Canadians need before the summer holidays begin. Such an important time, and this year, more than ever, Mr. Speaker, Canadians want hope. Conservatives are offering that hope. We ask today the Prime Minister will take the opportunity, give Canadians hope, opportunity, and know that things can be better for them, for their children, and for this country. Thank you very much.